I now call this meeting of the Kansas State University Student Senate to order. Will you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now move into first roll call.
Adams. Armstrong. Here. Arnoldi.
Here.
Belk.
Here.
Bergston.
Here.
Bothwell.
Here.
Bowen. Brown.
Here.
Burke. Carpenter.
Here.
Cole. Oh, sorry guys. Deemer Anvil.
Here.
Dunfield.
Here.
Esses. Gammon.
Here.
Gillian Key.
Here.
Grover.
Here.
Hammond.
Here.
Hart. Heatherman.
Here.
Hildreth.
Here.
Hildreth.
Here.
Huffman.
Here.
Javin.
Here.
Carmali.
Here.
Kidd.
Here.
King.
Here.
Kulkarni.
Here.
Everett.
Here.
Mari.
Here.
Marshall. Morgan, Neatery,
Here.
Orth,
Here.
Orzakowski, Helton,
Here.
Penny, Riffle, Roman, Smith, Spellman,
Here.
Spencer,
Here.
Sullivan, Tile, Thompson, Chumlin, Wessel, Wilhelm, and Whitmer. All right, real quick, we'll move into directors. Clark, Cruz, Gertson, Jennings, Pick,
Here.
Lundeen, McIntosh,
Here.
McKenzie, Minu, Picer, Sedlacek, Tuttle, Underwood, Valdez, and Works. All right, there are 39 senators present, 3 excused, and 7 absent.
All right, now we'll move into first open period. Our first open period speaker this evening is Matt Mindrup, representing Interfraternity and Panhellenic Councils.
Good evening, everyone. Like Ryan said, my name is Matt Mindrup. I'm a senior studying biology, and I'm representing the Interfraternity Council and the Panhellenic Council tonight. I used to be a senator and all the things in SGA, so it's kind of cool to be back. I haven't been here in a while. But I just wanted to give you all a quick update. Currently, I serve as the Director of Recruitment for IFC. That's kind of my role. But I just kind of wanted to talk about the Fraternity and Sorority Life office at K-State. We've had a lot of changes in the last 2 years, so just wanted to update everyone on that so you can have a better understanding of that. So the current makeup of the office is the Interfraternity Council, which governs all of the fraternities, the NIC fraternities on campus, the Panhellenic Council, and then those fall under the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life, and then that's kind of governed by our alumni fraternity councils and the Flint Hills Alumni Panhellenic Association. So those are made up of members who at one time were undergraduate members of fraternities and sororities at K-State. So kind of those 4 entities represent Greek life at K-State. Just to give you some historical context, the former Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life at K-State, which was a part of the university, was dissolved in May of 2017. When that happened, Greek life, fraternity and sorority life, IFC, PHC, we lost all of our advisors and our university funding and support. So when that happened, our alumni graciously stepped in to help with the transition. We began a couple things. We began negotiating with the union to get space so that we could have a presence on campus still, an office. And so we secured space with the union by December 2017. So we're in Union 004, which is the original office that we were located in after the union renovation before the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life was dissolved. We do pay a monthly rate for that space. So we have a contract with the union and we pay a monthly rate to rent that out. We do share it with some Center for Student Involvement offices as well. And then after we secured space, we started the process of finding a director to directly advise fraternity and sorority life entities here at K-State. And so we were able to hire Jordan Coker in late spring 2018, and then she officially started this past June. So Jordan is our only full-time staff member, and she's the director. And then we also have a budget in our budget for 2 graduate assistants. And we started the year with 2 graduate assistants. One of them just left us. She received a job offer somewhere else in town, and so she took that. And then our other graduate assistant just got a job offer on campus, so he'll be leaving us in about a month. And we also have 2 student staff members that help man the front desk so that we can have a presence there during the office hours. So Interfraternity Council and Panhellenic Council, we are ISO entities, so we do not receive any money from the university. We don't receive any money from the privilege fee. We're just like any other ISO, like the Star Wars Club. All of our funding comes from students involved in Greek life. So men involved in fraternities pay $35 a semester to the Fraternity and Sorority Life, or to Interfraternity Council, and then women pay $30 a semester. That's all the money we get. And so that funding covers to pay for our advisor, our 2 grad assistants. We have to have insurance, so we get insurance through the North American Interfraternity conference, so we have an insurance package from them, and then it covers administrative costs, like we have to hire an accounting firm to cover our budget, to do payroll, things like that. We also use that to help with recruitment and marketing efforts, and then we do have some money allocated for programming efforts that we do for the whole community. So just a numbers update, 26% of women, of undergraduate women on campus are involved in sororities, and 18% of undergraduate men are involved in fraternities, and in total, 22% of undergraduate students at the Manhattan campus are in Greek life. So that's more than 1 in every 5 students undergraduate students that you would see on campus. So basically, we operate on a break-even budget. Our budgets are open to our council members. They set them every year, but every dollar we use is spent only on necessities. We just don't have the financial resources to function any other way right now. Actually, compared to our peer institutions, we're well underfunded and understaffed. We went from a staff of 3, we were about to expand to 6 full-time staff members before the reorganization, now to a staff of 1 full-time member. So compared to our peer institutions, we are well understaffed. But we continue to make positive steps forward each day to continue our legacy of excellence, even without typical university resources. And we do this in many ways, but I just wanted to mention a few that we've done for a while and that we've also started recently. So it's rare to find any other student organization at K-State that would require yearly programs concerning alcohol, risk management, and sexual assault prevention programming for all of its members. But you will find these programs in every single chapter that we have at K-State. Many of our chapters also do additional programming on mental health awareness, nutrition, and physical health, and many other things. We're also working to be more transparent as a community, so we just launched a new accreditation program for both councils, and every IFC fraternity's yearly accreditation report is going to be available on our website starting this summer. And so this is going to allow chapters, potential new members, parents, community members, that's going to allow them to see how each individual fraternity at K-State is performing. And some of the things included in these reports will be things like community service hours and philanthropy dollars raised, as well as how many risk violations a fraternity had the past year, and if the fraternity completed IFC's mandatory yearly educational programming in the areas of sexual assault prevention, alcohol and substance abuse, hazing prevention, and health and wellness. And so that's just a small look into what we're doing and what we're continuing to doing. In terms of individual chapters, each individual chapter is also an ISO, and I can't speak for each individual chapter, but I know that many of these fraternities and sororities at K-State are leaders within their individual national organizations, and they're doing amazing things in all those areas I mentioned previously. And again, in terms of budgeting, I can't speak for them either, but I can, as experienced being a chapter president and overseeing a budget. We function mostly like the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. We just bring in enough money to function, to pay the bills, to provide meals, to pay for our dues to headquarters, to IFC or Panhellenic, to pay house director salaries, and to continue recruiting and make needed repairs. So the final thing I want to leave you guys with is that we're nearly 2 years out from the reorganization, and we're still trying to figure some things out, but we are committed to working with the university and the community in whatever facets that we can do. Not only do we benefit the community, we donated more than $270,000 last year through our fundraising efforts, and we volunteered more than 40,000 hours of community service as a fraternity and sorority community. But we also benefit the university and students here. So we help recruit students to come to K-State. We provide scholarships to incoming and current students. We provide graduate students in higher education the opportunity to get experience advising fraternities and sororities. We provide educational program, and while not all of our chapters provide housing, many do, and most, if not all, cost less than the university housing. So to many of our members, actually one of the benefits of membership is the cost-saving aspect of it when it comes to living. We also do many, many more things, and if you want to learn more about those, we actually just launched a new website, so you can check it out. It's fsl@kstate.com, and if there's any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
All right, with that, are there any questions for our speaker? Chair Spellman.
Could you say that website one more time?
Yes, it's fsl@kstate.com, and there's no dash between K and state.
Further questions, Chair Carpenter?
So you mentioned that fraternity men and sorority women
keep things moving. Why is there a price difference there?
So originally, the dues before the reorganization were the fraternity men were paying $25 and the sorority men were paying $20, and that was because there's more. Well, there still are more women in sororities, so they had to charge less to bring in the same amount of money. And then we had to raise our dues last year by $10 to cover the additional costs we took on when we lost university funding. But I think the goal is to eventually have everyone paying the same amount. It's just we have to get that passed by everyone, so it's going to be a slower process.
Further questions? Senator Brown.
Hello. You talked a little bit about the programming that was done for things such as sexual assault prevention. I was wondering if there had been any discussions on implementing diversity programming?
Yeah, that's been something that I know. I can't speak for Panhellenic on that. I'm not on that council, but that's something that IFC has actively been talking about. And in the accreditation program, that is one of the grading, I don't want to call it a grading portion, but each section gets graded, and that's one of the things is diversity programming.
Further questions for our speaker? All right, seeing none, thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Our next speaker for first open period is Sarah Barr, representing Student Legal Services.
Hey, guess what's this weekend? That's it. This is my 6th presentation this week. It's my last one. I'm leaving town tomorrow. So I'm gonna go out with a bang. I was asked to come. I'm not gonna use a mic that makes me echo. I'm gonna talk a little bit tonight about student legal services generally and Fake Patty's Day in particular, because that's what I was asked to do, and every now and then I do what I'm asked to do. Student Legal Services is 47 years old at Kansas State University. We're one of the oldest student legal services programs in the United States, which is pretty cool. That means that, there you go. Okay, just quickly, because the speakers sometimes will want to go through their resume and all that crap. I just want to say that I come from pretty good legal stock. In the black and white picture, the guy on the left is my grandpa Judge, retired as Chief Justice of the Kansas Supreme Court and was Attorney General of Kansas. My dad was a district judge and an attorney. My brother is a professor at the University of Denver School of Law, and then there's me. So this is, I don't know why my parents didn't feel like they could dress me, but anyway, I come from good legal stock. This is what I love, and being able to do it at Kansas State is even better. So in October of 1971, this yahoo was president of the student body at Kansas State. So it's true. Pat Bosco was alive and well in 1971. Meanwhile, in Southwest Kansas, I was also alive and well in 1971. Richard Nixon had not yet resigned. Peace was a big deal. I was probably the only Democrat on my block. So had I known what Pat Bosco was doing back here, I might have studied a little harder. So Kansas State University started Student Legal Services in 1971. When it started, this is crazy. When it started, it had a board of directors, and the attorney would go to the board of directors, imagine this, and say, somebody came in today and told me this, can I take the case? What? Attorney-client privilege? So that didn't last long, and we got to a real system with where there was not a board determining what the attorney could and couldn't do. So after 15 years in the student union for me, and living through the renovation, I got moved to Holton Hall. And so I'm now in the same office as the Office of Student Life, but I'm not part of the Office of Student Life. We don't share files, we don't share information. we share student workers. But it's nice because the deans can walk people over if somebody needs an attorney, and I can also take kids who are in crisis over to see the deans. So just in a nutshell, I've seen about 8,500 clients since 2002. It's about 500 a year. So Student Legal Services at K-State has always been a one-person operation. So Greek Life went from 3 to 1, and we're 1. One. And I love when a judge says, "Can't you have your staff?" Say, "My staff? Right here. Right here she is, and she's not paid enough." So I reached about 7,000 students through my time at Kansas State doing a lot of presentations, particularly the week before St. Patty's Day. We do have exit evaluations that show a high level of satisfaction with the services of Student Legal Services, and I also specifically asked about their stress reduction. So it appears that students are a lot less stressed when they see me. So it's like the opposite of my ex-husband, who apparently has a lot more stress when he sees me, as well he should. So in the years that we've had Student Legal Services, we've had 5 lawyers, and I'm starting my 18th year at Kansas State. I didn't have time to actually do the numbers to bring them up to date, but tens of thousands of dollars of attorney fees have not been paid to private attorneys because students have utilized my services, which I think is amazing. There are students who say that if they had to hire a private attorney, they would have had to quit school. So I think it's important, that part of the service is very important. And then we also have off-campus housing support that I supervise, which is a student who works 10 hours a week, who supports and gives advice to people who are having trouble with their landlords or issues with their rentals. In 2014, Marcus, you have to look at that. My office received the most outstanding student legal services office. I don't even know which year that was, Marcus. I don't. He's kind of gone. Like every time I see Marcus, I say, "Wow." What is that line from Ghost? Damn, baby, what'd you do to your hair? Remember when Ruth Goldberg says that? Okay. So we got the Award of Excellence from the University Student Legal Services Association, and these are all the schools that are west of the Mississippi. So that was pretty great. And then the next year, I was the first recipient of the Miss Lake Mejia Award through the same organization. It's for having a great sense of humor. Boom! Yeah. Never going to be a great legal scholar, guys, but I can wow a crowd. And then last year, I received the Putting Students First Award from the Division of Student Life. Okay, so that's sort of Student Legal Services in a nutshell. And I'm just going to quick talk about St. Patty's Day. Can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, all right? But it's going to be cold, so know that as you drink, you're going to feel warmer, but you're not. So stay dressed. Okay, if you get a minor possession of alcohol ticket and you have never had one before, as a juvenile, anywhere, a diversion, anything, you can get a diversion. It's going to cost you $755. Everything from Friday through Sunday is double. So if it's typically $300, it's now $600 for the next few days. That's all due at one time. If you don't qualify for a diversion, you're going to lose your driver's license for 30 days. Because somehow the legislature in Kansas thinks that makes sense. I said to Dr. Bosco, show me the face if your daughter came home and said she got a ticket for fake DL. And that's what he gave me. I don't think that's too scary, frankly. You get a fake DL, $755. Now, if you get an MIP and a fake DL, $600, $600, $155. So bring your checkbook. If you get a ticket on St. Patty's Day, cancel your spring break trip because you can't go on spring break and pay for all these diversions. So you're gonna have to choose. If you, I-states right now are hot. So if you have a fake driver's license from an I-state, they're really looking at them very closely. If you're convicted of unlawful use of a driver's license, you're going to get a jail sentence, you're going to be put on probation, you'll be fingerprinted and mugshot, and you'll have a crime of dishonesty on your record. Furnishing alcohol to a minor, you can get a diversion for this. Again, it's $755. If you're convicted, it's likely the same penalty. And these are my grandsons. They're not. I just think that's a great picture. Okay, public urination. I talk about this only because of the movie Horrible Bosses. Public urination is not a sex crime. And you know what? In 34 years of practicing law, never had a woman come and ask me about a public urination. So there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, I mean, it's already kind of an ordeal. And secondly, women kind of think things through, and they don't want to just pee on the floor. I'm just saying. So it's not a sex crime, $198. You don't have to show up to court, you can just pay it. But listen to me, don't do it. Don't pee outside in public. That's just nasty. It's nasty, and then some kid's gonna walk along there someday barefoot, and it's gonna be where you pee. And don't do it. And don't do it on the front window of So Long. Like, that has to be said, but apparently it does. All right, open container in public is the big one on St. Patty's Day. If you have an open container, is that the timer?
Time's expired for the speaker. Is there a motion to extend? Chair Kulkarni.
I move that we extend the speaker's time by 10 minutes.
It's made in a second to extend the speaker's time by 10 minutes. If there are no objections, you have 10 more minutes.
All right, so open container, thank you. Open container in public is the big one on St. Patty's Day. So you cannot have an open container. I just met my goal for active minutes. An open container on public property, a sidewalk, a street, an alley, the easement between the sidewalk and the street. So open container is a cup, a can, a bottle with the seal broken. So you don't have to appear on that ticket either. It's $148. You can just pay it. And it's a violation only of a city ordinance, so it's not reported anywhere. It's like public urination. It's not reported anywhere. So most of the time I just suggest that people pay those, although if you're not in public or you're not on public property, then you shouldn't have been given the ticket anyway, and it might be something that you want to go to trial for or resolve in a different way. So this is the big one. But because it's going to be so cold, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people wandering around drinking, with open containers. And frankly, if they are, they probably ought to get a ticket and go somewhere more. Okay, we're going to talk about sex and drinking. And the reason we're going to talk about this is twofold. Number one, under what other circumstances would I have an opportunity to show this picture? And number two, because a district judge called me and said, who is talking to the students at Kansas State University about drinking and sex? I said, well, Judge, gosh, I don't know. He said, well, I think it should be you. Oh, okay. So it's me, just some. So I do want to say the person taking this photograph was the student body president. We were going to lunch, and the sexual health and peer educators group had a table. You put on beer goggles. You took a wooden banana, you put a condom on the banana. Apparently, you are not supposed to open the condoms with your teeth. At some point, well, anyway. So, this is the picture that makes my mother proud. All right, so here's here's the bottom line on sex and drinking. Someone who is impaired by alcohol cannot give consent for sex. And if you cannot give consent for sex because you are impaired by alcohol, then that sex is not consensual. And if the sex is not consensual, then it is rape, it is sexual assault. So you need to look out for each other. You need to pay attention to friends wandering away with, maybe friends who are intoxicated wandering away with somebody. You can't do it. I mean, that's not true. Of course you can do it. Of course you can have sex drunk. I was in college. I was in law school. I mean, okay, I'm gonna say it. Here's my line. Here's the line that makes people think the woman should be committed. I was in college at Fort Hays. We had a bar in the basement of our dorm. If it weren't for drunk hookups, I'd have no hookups, okay? So I get it. But things are different now. Things are very different now. You have to be extremely careful. You have to be extremely careful. You have to look out for each other. You have to step in. You just have to look out for each other because things can go very badly, very fast. So 2 sort of drunk people don't make one sober person, all right? If a person is impaired by alcohol or drugs, they cannot give consent for sex. So many people on Sunday morning are going to have this feeling that they're never drinking again ever. I can promise you that you will. You will live to drink again. So this is my contact information. I was a little disappointed, frankly, that I was not even interviewed for the Bill Snyder job as football coach. I have my picture. I was on the set. I was ready to go. In fact, I know shit about football. Perhaps you came into it a little bit, but I was really pretty excited. And this is going to tell you something about my Facebook friends. I posted this. It's been probably 6 years ago. And I said, this is my new part-time gig. I'm Bill Snyder's wingman on this TV show. I'm not even kidding you. Really? Can you get Bill Snyder's autograph? No, I can't get Bill Snyder's autograph. I'm not his wingman. Of the billion people in the world, they're going to pick me. Oh, my friends are idiots. Okay, so there you go. Are there any questions?
All right, with that, are there any questions? Speaker Pro Tempore Arnold D.
For the majority of students who come to see you, how are they referred to your services? Are they referred from other faculty?
That's a good question. A lot of students come because of word of mouth, because of presentations I've done, faculty who refer them to Office of Student Life. I did a lot of marketing at first. I haven't done so much recently because I've been in this transition of going from the union to a temporary office and then to OSL. So it's just word of mouth. So, and I know that the judges are good about sending kids to me. Clerks are good about it. So they sometimes just wander in. I can't believe anybody who sees one of these presentations thinks, oh yeah, that's who I watch. Know that. Today I lost my head with a police officer on behalf of some kid who was just absolutely terrified. And I won't have it. I won't have it. And so I hope that, she's on her way home, she didn't get arrested or something. But I do have a tendency to get a little worked up. Yeah?
Can you get a DUI on a bicycle?
You cannot. You can get a drunk, not drunk pedestrian, but you can get something. But it's not a DUI. No. Yeah.
Okay, so you're carrying a 30-pack and it's open with closed cans.
Yeah.
Is that an open container?
Well, the prosecutors and I have gone round and round and round about that. I think that we've reached a conclusion that it is not. The container is not the packaging. The container is the can. Oh, and also, if you're going to use a DD, don't get in the car with an open container. That's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Can you drink on a party bus?
Sure. Are you 21?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. That's why it's called. No, yeah, sure. But you know what? But you need to make sure that any alcohol is, out of the reach of the driver or whatever. Yeah, but if it's a really official party bus, that's all, already taken care of.
Further questions? Director Gertzen?
The registered parties that Manhattan now has, how do those, they don't have them? I thought you said we did have them.
No, I think it's bad.
Bad.
But yeah, it offers zero protection. The only thing it does is it gives the cops a list. Hey, things are kind of boring. Let's go to 901 Lilac Lane, and it's my address in Wamego. You don't have to come there. It's not you have a great dog. But yeah, so there's no that. Yeah, offers no protection.
Further questions? All right, if not, thank you so much for entertaining us. All right, our next speaker for first open period this evening is Yasmin Al-Basri, the chair-elect for the Library Student Ambassadors.
Hello everyone, my name is Yasmin Al-Basri. I'm a senior in Life Sciences Pre-Dental, and I am this year the chair-elect for the Library Student Ambassadors, and next year I will be the chair for the Library Student Ambassadors. I am here to talk and give you kind of like a quick update because there has been a lot going on with the libraries. As you guys may have known and noticed that the libraries have been closed because, or the Hale Library has been closed because there was a fire on May 22nd of 2018 that has affected all the library, and it actually is very tragic. We thought it was going to be a minor minor fire. There wasn't much damage, but actually the whole library was damaged, unfortunately. But right now we are in the middle of, we're almost done cleaning and drying out the walls in the library because there was a lot of smoke and water damage. There wasn't actual fire damage. It was just because it was kind of between two walls. There was a lot of smoke and water damage. One thing that I want to talk about is, of course, our group, which is the Library Student Ambassadors. Who are we? We, as I said before, the Library Student Ambassadors, we represent the libraries on campus or K-State libraries, and we act as the bridge between the students and the libraries, as in like librarians, staff, resources, and so on. We try to talk and engage with students and ask them about what exactly do they need, how can we improve, how can we provide more resources for them, and we try to do our best and help them as much as possible. And of course, we try to also give the student kind of opinion and deliver it to the libraries, and give our insight on whatever has been going on at that time. So lately, we have been going through a lot of problems, unfortunately. It's not just the fire, and it's not just the building, which is one of the biggest problems, the building not being open. We have been seeing a lot of students struggling with not finding spaces on campus to study or just to sit down, do homework, or relax, or whatever they used to do at Hale. And it didn't go on very well, unfortunately, and I understand that because it is very frustrating when you go around wanting to study, and especially having Hale, for me at least, it was like a second home. You know, as soon as I get out of class, I am directly going to Hale to study, to sit down, you know, de-stress or whatever. But unfortunately, we cannot find the space right now. The good thing is that we have spaces around campus. They're kind of like more scattered around campus, and you can find these spaces on the K-State app under maps. It will show you exactly where you can find these spaces, where you can study, and where there are like quiet study places or computer labs, and so on. One other problem that we have been having is the budget cuts. So our budget has been cut pretty badly, and of course, with everything that has been going on with the fire, it has been getting kind of, it hasn't been very promising, unfortunately. So our biggest problem is budget. In addition to reduced allocations, our financial situation is actually very complicated because we have been dealing with something that is called the cereals crisis. And the cereals crisis is actually a result of publishers charging way too much, a lot of money for the prices of their journals and their databases. So with the reduced allocations and the increase in the prices of the journals and the journal subscriptions that we have been trying to provide, and the databases, combined with all of these, we ended up with a cancellation of about $730,000. And over the past 5 years, there has been a 30% decrease in staffing. And we have been trying to do our best to provide as many resources and as many resources and as many services to the students and the staff on campus, but because of this issue, it has been getting very difficult for us to provide any of these. And in addition to all of that, this spring we have canceled about over $640,000 of the subscriptions that we used to provide. So this is one of the many problems that we have been going through. But that doesn't mean that Hale is not there anymore. Yes, the building is closed. It is being cleaned, and hopefully we will start renovating the first floor. And we predict that the first floor will be open in fall of 2019, hopefully. So we have been trying to work on that. We got the design all done, and they're starting to work on it right now. But for the other floors, we are still kind of just cleaning them and slowly renovating them. But our main focus right now is the first floor. As you guys might know, we of course have the library, the library's website that you can go to, and you can find all the resources that you need. There are so many ways that you can contact a librarian, which I would highly, highly recommend. Our librarians are amazing. They're very well qualified and very well informed about our resources. And one of the many resources that we provide is the textbook initiative. So what we have been trying to do is you can come to us, email us, text us, whatever way of communication you would like to use, and we can talk to your professor to hopefully get them to put the textbook that they use for their class on reserve with the library help desk. And of course, there is the interlibrary loan, which you can go online to the library website, and from there you can request whatever thing, whatever book, journal, article, anything that is related or that you can find at a library, we will make sure to try and get it from any library in the nation. So yes, that's kind of an update of what has been going on. One other thing that I would like to add, and I do not know how to sugarcoat this, so I won't. Lately, as you guys have seen, we have been going through really, really rough times. Not only the ambassadors, but all of us as students and staff on campus with everything that has been going on with Hale. Hale is the heart, for me, is the heart and soul of the university. I miss it every day, and I remember in the summer I had classes, and I would like mistakenly get out of class and almost go to Hale, but then I remember, oh, it's not open, which is very unfortunate. But in the past years, we used to have candidates from SGA that would come and talk to us, but this year we didn't. And that was unfortunate. We expected to have a little bit more support from SGA and the candidates in SGA. But that doesn't mean that we cannot have communication and we cannot connect. The library ambassadors, including me, we are trying to work on having at least, one ambassador each meeting that you guys have to kind of give you a small update or answer any questions that you guys might have about the libraries and have a better connection so we know what you guys need as people who represent other groups of students, and we can tell you how you guys can help us. So yes, that's all what I have. Thank you very much for listening. Do you have any questions?
Are there any questions for our speaker? Intern Boots.
Sorry. Yeah, you mentioned that the libraries had allocations cut. Can you state which body was cutting your allocations, because it didn't say that?
Oh, yes. So, of course, the state has been cutting a lot of that. And, of course, that we have been having a lot of complications with the insurance company that we are working with, and the other insurance company from the other workers that were working there and kind of caused the accident. So it actually has been very complicated. We have been talking about it over and over again, and still to this moment, almost 6 months later, we do not have a definite answer. Yeah, but thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions? Chair Spellman.
Thank you for coming tonight. I was kind of curious on the student resources that you said had been cut.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, the number was $640,000. Could you elaborate on
this spring? Yeah.
Could you explain kind of which resources were cut and kind of the process on how you decided those?
So this is a combination of not exactly just resources, but mainly the journal subscriptions that we had and the databases that we used to provide for researchers and students in general. So for example, journals and articles are very, very expensive sometimes. I had a paper to write, and I found this article that I really wanted to use, but they wanted me to pay $300. And I couldn't find that on our website and the libraries because we don't have that much. So yes, I'm sorry if that wasn't enough, but I'll make sure to get more information about that. Thank you, though.
Further questions? All right, seeing none, thank you so much for coming, Yasmin. All right, with that, are there any more speakers for first open period? Seeing none, we'll move into approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Senator Wilhelm?
Move to approve the minutes.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. If there are no objections, The minutes are approved. Now we'll move into announcements for the week. First, proxies are Bothwell for Bowen, Gilla and King for Esses, and Mari for Tyel. SJ members of the week this week are Senator Jack Dunfield for organizing last week's mental health dialogue, Travel Allocations Committee for allocating $63,000 to 22 sports clubs after hours of presentations, and parliamentarian Justin Watkins for chairing Senate last week. So if we could give them a round of applause. And the quote of the week this week: "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it was faced." James Baldwin. We will now move into committee reports. Are there any committee chairs who would like to give a report? No? All right, seeing none, are there any directors who would like to give a report? Director Pick.
Hi everyone, so my name is Cecilia for those who don't know me, and I'm the current Academic Affairs Director. And last year I made a Hail video, so just saying. But anyways, so I'm working with T-Balls right now, fun. And I was meeting with a lot of faculty and administrators, and I kind of wanted to work on getting more teachers to send out T-Balls because I was hearing that some of them were not sending it. But then I realized that the biggest problem we had was that students were not providing effective feedback on their T-Balls. We had a lot of "you suck" or "I don't like the way you dress." And I mean, thank you for completing your T-Balls, but that's not helpful. So right now, I kind of wanted to raise awareness on how to provide effective feedback, and I met with Dr. Niehoff, and he was so helpful, and he gave me some tips that I could pass along to students. So now I'm working on another video, and if any of you want to be a star this semester and really rock it on my video, please let me know. Oh, you want to? No? Okay, so we'll be shooting the video next week, and you can just let me know when you're available and we can work through it, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to be publishing it throughout the university, so if you can help me, it would be super, super nice. No? No one? No one? Yay! Yes, you can raise your hands. I only need 2 people. Yay! Thank you.
Any questions for Director Pick? All right, seeing none, are there any more director's reports?
I have.
Vice President Pitts.
Cool. All right, so it's been a few weeks since I've been up here, but Jordan is doing things with the Alumni Association tonight with all of the board of directors being back in town for the spring semester. So I would like to start off with several things. We've had a really busy last couple of weeks. We just got back from DC today, and we will be presenting on that next week. But if you have any questions, specifically about my karaoke performance last night, feel free to reach out. So first of all, Jordan mentioned this last week, but we've been in conversations a little bit about a university-wide attendance policy and making Dead Week dead. So if you're passionate about those things, you want to converse a little bit more about those things, dive a little bit deeper, you can shoot Jordan an email and really get those further details. Currently, it's just in conversation periods, but we are having some flexibility of things that we could do in the future to make those days a little bit easier on students. Going into finals week. So then also, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the new Foundation Day of Giving. Can I see a show of hands for those of you who have heard anything about it? Okay, so about half the room. So I'd encourage you all to go follow the KSU Foundation on Twitter, Facebook, whatever your preferred form of social media is. And they're doing a really cool thing that several other universities do, except we're going to do it way better. And it's called the Foundation Day of Giving. So a whole bunch of campus entities entered proposals to get like I'm sorry, I'm like losing my words here, but to get funding from a kind of group fund effort for the university. So the foundation's going to have like a big fundraising day, and there's going to be links to, there will be links that could be shared, and then you can donate. A question was raised in cabinet: do you have to be a K-State student? Absolutely not. You can send it to your family members. You can send it to alumni. You can send it to your cousins in Connecticut. Like literally anyone can donate to this, and it helps out a great cause. Tomorrow it will be revealed that it's Cats Covered, as I said earlier, and I think we're all pretty passionate about Cats Covered and helping out food insecure students on campus. So as you follow the K-State Foundation and all of that, I encourage you to retweet their video and share with your family members all of the cool things that they're doing. Another really exciting thing is JPs. We are very big members or big fans of JPs in the executive branch, and I'm sure you all are as well. They have been in the union for a year. Tomorrow they will be doing raffles for free burgers for a year and several other things. So I'd encourage you all to stop by and show your support and thank them for being great partners of students here in the union. A couple more things. So you all know it's on Saturday. Sarah gave a great presentation about it. I'm not half as funny as she is, but ATA buses will be on their routes that day, and they will be providing transportation to students. So obviously don't drink and drive, don't get into a car with a drunk driver, and find those alternatives. Appropriately enough, the green and yellow routes will be the ones running, and I encourage you all to download the ATA app. I think it's Ride ATA on the App Store, and it tracks the buses and tells you when they'll be in those locations. They have a great pickup point around the Ville, and they go to most of the other neighborhoods here in Manhattan. Finally, Miranda will be sending out an email via OrgSync about the textbook survey. How many of you have filled out the textbook survey? All right, I'd like to see 100% of hands raised by next week. So the textbook survey is something we're really excited about. It's talking about your experience with textbooks, with open educational resources, which is those online textbooks and the different alternatives to those hard copies you buy at the bookstore, and really providing a more diverse and affordable experience to students in regards to their curriculum supplements. One really cool thing about that, coming back from Big 12 on the Hill, we met with Senator Moran's staffers, and they were really excited to hear the data that we were collecting, and we're going to pass it on to the senator. Well, actually, the senator was excited about it too, but passing it on to him to talk about in Senate allocations, or Senate appropriations, sorry, Miranda, but Senate appropriations to give more grant funding to open educational resources and really incentivize universities to adapt those. I think we all like paying less for textbooks, so let's do our share and hope that they do the same out in Congress. So Miranda will be sending out graphics for that. If you could share that, take the survey, and then post on your Instagram story, post on your Twitter, your Facebook, your Snapchat, anything like that, to encourage your peers to fill that out so we get the most data collected. And KU is doing this too, so we would love to have the bragging rights that our students care more and care about the future of their university. So for that, I will stand for questions.
Any questions? Senator Neatery?
Is Dr. Pepper a male or a female?
So a poll conducted on my Twitter or on my Instagram story today, Dr. Pepper is actually a male. It's historical, sad to say it, although I do promote women in STEM.
Further questions? Chair Carpenter.
You briefly touched on this at the beginning of your presentation or your report about mandatory attendance. Would that be for like dead week, finals week?
Sure. Sure. So a lot of universities have a university-wide attendance policy where I'm sure you have all experienced this as very involved students, where you are missing a class for an SGA event or something like that. Your professor says, no dice, we're not helping you out. You're just going to miss those points. A lot of other universities have, you can miss 2 days, no questions asked or something like that to take that ease on you a little bit more, and then that would be separate from the dead week thing, but both of those are in regards to attendance and kind of proposals that we would give to faculty senate and moving forward. Does that help? Cool, thanks. And if you are really interested in it, reach out to Jordan and we can get you looped in on some great conversations.
Further questions? Chief of Staff Moore?
Okay, sorry, not a question. It was brought to my attention that the OrgSync message I just sent out said it's malicious. I promise it's not. I don't know why. So that about workspace. But if anyone could just take a minute and post that on your Instagram story, like right now, like the link is in my Instagram bio for that textbook affordability survey. It's super important. We'd really appreciate your
Yeah, just everyone go ahead and put the link in your Instagram bio. Yeah.
I was going to mention that links like aren't clickable on Instagram, so it might be more effective on Twitter. Like they can copy and paste it via Instagram, but you can't click it.
Well, like in your bio, you can click it, right? Yeah, you can.
On your story and say like.
Believe me, I'm on Instagram a lot. Yeah, don't post it on your story though. He has a great point. It's not clickable, it's not interactive, so definitely tweet that out. It's not an easy link really to tweet, so just copy and paste it from whatever friends have posted it or what Miranda sends after she's been sending mean things in her first OrgSync message. But yeah, so get that out to your friends. It's really great. Anything else?
Further questions?
Cool.
All right, seeing none, are there any more director's reports? Speaker Pro Tempore Arnoldi.
Oh, I went to Raising Cane's for the first time, and I got a puppy sticker while I was there. So I forgot I had that on. But anyway, I'm here to talk to you guys about Diversity Programming Committee. So I'm going to give just a little bit of an overbrief for those of you who aren't so familiar with it. We allocate funds to student organizations who want to host diversity-oriented projects on campus that have a minimum budget of $3,000, so they're pretty large events. We just finished up our fourth quarter for this year allocating funds, so the fiscal year for 2018-19 is closed, and we'll be starting the first quarter allocations for projects occurring at the beginning of fall 2019 to October 15th in April. And that deadline ends on the last Friday in March. Okay, so we are budgeted with $175,000 for the entire year, and we allocated $151,765 of that, which gives us a remaining balance of $23,235. We received 22 applications from 19 student organizations over the year, and of those, we had 18 that were eligible to be read. So there were 3 that were submitted past the deadline and 2 that did not meet the minimum funding requirements. So of those, we approved 13 applications for 12 different student organizations on campus. And the average allocation for each of those was $11,674 per project. Some of those are kind of skewed because we had 2 or 3 projects that were very large and then a lot that were kind of smaller. So the smallest one was $3,500, and the largest project that we funded was $30,110. So that's a lot of numbers, but if you guys have any questions about specifics for that, I do have the list up here, so ask away if you want.
All right, with that, are there any questions for our speaker? Vice President Pitts.
How did you like Cane's?
It was pretty good.
Further questions? I do have one. That 20,000 plus number that wasn't allocated, what happens to that now?
It is my understanding that that will go into reserves. Yes? Money person in the room? Yeah. Yeah, so that $175,000 comes from student privilege fees, so that will be a new budget for the next fiscal year starting over, so all of that leftover money will be put back into reserves.
Further questions? All right, seeing none, are there any more director's reports? If not, we will move into approval of minor allocations. Bill 58 is an on-campus allocation to Halo. They requested $180 and recommended $180. Bill 59 is an on-campus allocation to Wildcat Warriors. They requested $500 and were recommended $500. Bill 60 is an on-campus allocation to Wildcats Against Sexual Violence. They requested $500 and were recommended $500. Are there any questions on the minor allocations? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the minor allocations? Intern Coordinator Bothwell.
I move that we approve the minor allocations. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minor allocations. If there are no objections, the minor allocations are approved. We'll now move into final action. Will the author of Bill 61 please come forward? Have any corrections been made?
No, it should all be good.
All right, your first choice to debate.
All right, so this is just our allocations to the sports clubs. So, like Ryan said earlier, we allocated 22 different groups on campus. We allocated $63,000 to them. So yeah, so just to vote to approve this.
All right, with that, are there any questions or corrections for the author? All right, seeing none, is there any more debate on this bill? If not, we'll proceed into a roll call vote on Bill 61.
Adams.
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Arnaldi.
Yes.
Belk.
Yes.
Bergston.
Yes.
Bothwell.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes, by proxy.
Brown.
Yes.
Burke.
Yes.
Carpenter.
Yes.
Cole. DeMaranville.
Yes.
Dunfield.
Yes.
Esses.
Yes, by proxy.
Gammon.
Yes.
Gillian King.
Yes.
Grover.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Hart. Heatherman.
Yes.
Alec Hildreth.
Yes.
Derek Hildreth.
Yes.
Huffman.
Yes.
Javin.
Yes.
Karamali.
Yes.
Kidd.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Cole Carney.
Yes.
Leverett. Mari. Marshall. Morgan.
Yes.
Neatery.
Yes.
Orth. Orzakowski.
Yes.
Pelton.
Yes.
Penny.
Yes.
Riffle.
Yes.
Roman. Smith.
Yes.
Spellman.
Yes.
Spencer.
Yes.
Sullivan. Tile.
Yes, by proxy.
Thompson.
Yes.
Chumlin.
Yes.
Wessel.
Yes.
Wilhelm.
Yes.
And Whitmer.
Yes.
All right, Bill 18-1961 passes 42 to 0 to 0.
All right, with that, we'll now move to Bill 62. Will the author please come forward? Have any changes been made?
No.
All right, you have first rights to debate.
So just like I mentioned last week, I'm not gonna move the microphone. OCAC, we're gonna fund the backcountry hunters and anglers of Kansas State for a speaker that they're going to have regarding wildlife outdoor enterprise management. It'll be a really educational event, not only for those majors at K-State, but just like anybody will come. That's all I have.
All right, are there any questions for the author? Seeing none, is there any further debate on this bill? If not, we'll now proceed into a roll call vote on Bill 62.
Adams.
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Arnaldi.
Yes.
Belk.
Yes.
Bergston.
Yes.
Bothwell.
Yes.
Bowen.
Yes, by proxy.
Brown.
Yes.
Burke.
Yes.
Carpenter.
Yes.
Cole. DeMaranville.
Yes.
Dunfield.
Yes.
Esses.
Yes, by proxy.
Gammon.
Yes.
Gillian King.
Yes.
Grover.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Hart. Heatherman.
Yes.
Alec Hildreth.
Yes.
Derek Hildreth.
Yes.
Huffman.
Yes.
Javin.
Yes.
Karamali.
Yes.
Kidd.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Cole Carney.
Yes.
Leverett. Mari.
Yes.
Marshall. Morgan.
Yes.
Neatery.
Yes.
Orth. Orzakowski. Pelton.
Yes.
Penny.
Yes.
Riffle.
Yes.
Roman. Smith.
Yes.
Spellman.
Yes.
Spencer.
Yes.
Sullivan. Tile.
Yes, by proxy.
Thompson.
Yes.
Chumlin.
Yes.
Wessel.
Yes.
Wilhelm.
Yes.
And Whitmer.
Yep.
All right, Bill 18-1962 passes 42 to 0 to 0.
All right, is there a motion to consider the minor allocations? Chair Kulkarni.
I move that we consider the minor allocations. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider the minor allocations. Bill 63 is a travel allocation to Anthropology Club. They requested $400 and recommended $400. Bill 64 is a travel allocation to Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. They requested $280 and were recommended $280. Bill 65 is a travel allocation to KSU Rotaract Club. They requested $500 and were recommended $200. Bill 66 is a travel allocation to On the Spot Improv. They requested $600 and were recommended $600. And lastly, Bill 67 is a travel allocation to Sigma Tau Delta International English Honor Society. They requested $300 and were recommended $300. Are there any questions on the minor allocations? All right, seeing none, now we'll move into introduction of legislation. Is there a motion to consider Bill 68? Intern Glasscock.
I move to consider Bill 68. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Consider Bill 68. Will the author please come forward? Senator Jevin.
Move to allow the author to summarize. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to allow the author to summarize. If there are no objections, you may summarize.
Okay, I'm going to read all the whereas clauses, but I'll just summarize the changes for everyone. So Bill 1968, amendments to the Kansas State University Student Governing Association bylaws concerning the SGA intern program. This is by the Special Committee on Membership. Whereas it is necessary to continuously review the Kansas State University Student Governing Association bylaws, whereas the 2017 to 2018 Special Committee on Membership recommended the creation of a new two-phase intern program in order to remove barriers of entrance to KSU SGA. Whereas the legislation written by the 2017 to 2018 Special Committee on Membership was passed by Student Senate on March 29, 2018. Whereas the new SGA intern program began at the start of the 2018-2019 academic year. Whereas over 110 unique students have attended at least one SGA intern program meeting throughout the 2018 to 2019 academic year. Whereas the 2018 to 2019 Special Committee on Membership reviewed the SGA intern program after the commencement of Class 3 to discern if any changes to the program were necessary, and whereas the following changes were recommended in order to improve the ability of the SGA intern program to provide opportunities, information, and resources to the greater KSU community. So I'm just going to kind of talk through the legislation and where all the changes are in it now. So the biggest one throughout the whole thing is we actually changed some of the verbiage used. So the bill actually used to say like courses were like the 5-week sessions that students would attend, but we changed it to classes. First of all, that's the language that Sadie and I have used in all of our marketing for the year, so we feel like that'd be better to keep that consistent. But also we felt like it's better for creating a sense of community, like you graduate with a class of people. So that's just kind of why we made that change. The first like substantive change is on line 87 of the bill. So that actually refers to the intern selection panel. That panel will now only be meeting if there is any need to like cut any applicants from the program. Throughout the past year, Sadie and I like didn't need to do that, so that's just why that's added. The next change is on line 92. So that's specifying that the maximum number of interns can be increased at the intern coordinator's discretion. Right now it says that there's only supposed to be 35 in the first class. Now this way they can take more than 35 if they want to. Then looking into section 2, there was 2 major changes here. On line 134, we added a new duty to the intern coordinators. So now the intern coordinators are responsible for coordinating any visits of prospective students who want to meet with SGA. No one in SGA has that duty right now, so we're giving it to the intern coordinators because Sadie and I have done it all year already, so I figured it fits best there. And then finally, on line, what's now item 6 on line 138. So before this year, you could be intern coordinator and a senator at the same time. At the start of this year, we passed an independent positions bill. So now the intern coordinators are considered independent positions. So you cannot be a senator and intern coordinator at the same time. So that's all that. I'll stand for any questions now.
All right, with that, are there any questions or corrections for the author? Intern Booz.
Before you were doing the visit duties, who was doing that? Like the president or something?
Yeah, so I actually work at New Student Services, so that's like why I personally felt passionately about these changes. I know that last year they would contact like leadership, so either like student body president or the speaker to do visits. Since I work there this year, like I've just been the person handling all those visits, so it's easiest to give them myself to do. But also with that, we've tried to set up visits with leadership, and it's just a lot more difficult to set up, whereas I think intern coordinators are more prepared to handle that. We already have our PowerPoint presentations and everything, so it just runs really smoothly with that. I will also defer to Chair Colburn.
Jordan talked to me about this, like the student body president and vice president do work with New Student Services on some level. So on Sunday, we'll kind of talk about how those two will interact. Just so.
Further questions? Follow-up?
Yes, please. Actually, this is more of a change In the new number 6, I'd say set forth in Article 7 of the bylaws, or as opposed to any other Article 7.
Okay, we discussed the best way to change that, so we'll take that into consideration for committee. Thank you.
Awesome. Further questions or corrections? All right, seeing none, this bill will be referred to the Special Committee on Membership. Is there a motion to consider Bill 69? Senator Wilhelm?
I move to consider Bill 69.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 69. Will the author please come forward? Chair Spellman.
I move to allow the author to summarize.
It's been moved and seconded to allow the author to summarize. If there are no objections, you may summarize.
Okay, this one I'm not even going to read the whereas clauses because it's significantly shorter. So while reviewing all the changes to the intern program, we noticed in the Constitution that technically interns aren't supposed to be sworn in, and intern coordinators don't have the power to do that. So all this is doing is adding interns to the list of people who are sworn in. We feel like that's an important rite of passage to go through. And then we also are giving the intern coordinators the ability to exclusively swear in interns. So that's all this is doing.
With that, are there any questions or corrections? Seeing none, this bill will also be referred to the Special Committee on Membership. Is there a motion to consider Bill 70? Senator Wilhelm?
I move to consider Bill 70.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 70. Will the author please come forward?
Good evening, everyone. So essentially, this is
Intern Colburn.
I move the author be allowed to summarize. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the author be allowed to summarize. If there are no objections, you may summarize.
so it's essentially the same bill that we discussed about, wherein the new committee would be born out of student engagement. I'm just going to read the whereas clauses. Bill 18-1970 by Special Committee on Membership, whereas the Student Engagement Committee is legislated to engage and promote Kansas State University Student Governing Association to the students, faculty, administration, and staff of Kansas State University and Manhattan community by educating them on the KSU SGA's mission, whereas the creation of independent positions within KSU SGA, changes to the intern program, and changes to the College Caucus system have shifted the responsibility of promotion of programs, educations about SGA, and outreach to departmental, college-specific student organizations away from the Student Engagement Committee, whereas the Special Committee on Membership has created and reauthorized for the last 4 years to address ongoing systemic issues dealing with disproportionate student governing membership. The internal focus of reviewing mechanism that allows students to get involved in KSU SGA should be permanent practice, whereas consolidating the duties of Student Engagement Committee and Special Committee on Membership will avoid adding an additional standing committee and be a more efficient use of time and resources, whereas other Kansas Board of Regents and Big 12 institutions have committees that focus on issues relating to diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, and those committees are successful in multicultural student outreach and educating Senate at their respective institution. And whereas through KS Unite, the creation of Multicultural Student Center and new administrative positions, Kansas State University has reaffirmed its focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and has made DEI issues a priority in KSU SGA. So essentially, after enacting this bill, you can go on to line 119, where you will find the specific members who will be involved with this committee, like the senators and the directors and all the other people involved. And the objectives of this committee are mentioned from line 165, where essentially it's that perform outreach, but more focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion. With that, I stand for questions.
Any questions or corrections for the author? Speaker Pro Tempore Arnoldi.
I have a couple questions. The first one is on line 152, and it's talking about the 2 members from the executive branch serving on the body. That whole paragraph just seems kind of clunky. Can you explain why it was written and worded that way?
I defer the question to Lily.
Yeah, so right now in student engagement, it's legislated that the Multicultural Student Affairs Director and the International Students Affairs Directors are the ones who have to serve. But when it comes to membership, there are a lot of different directors of positions that could be relevant. So like ARH, or other ones are blanking, Student Support Director. So it's up to the president and vice president each year to decide which directors they want to appoint, and then also kind of which directors have that interest, because right now, there might be a director that has that interest, but they don't get to be on that committee, or vice versa.
Okay. I have one more.
Please.
Okay, and then my other one was on line 177, and it's the duty. One of the duties of the community is to educate Senate on existing organizations, resources, and issues related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Is it your intent to have senators educating Senate, or to just oversee the education?
Again, yeah, intern
Yeah.
call. Yeah.
So I guess senators educating Senate, but also overseeing. So this is modeled directly after Emporia State University's diversity committee. The committee members each, not every week, but occasionally go in front of Senate and educate on a topic like gender inclusive language, or if it's Black History Month, giving some sort of lesson on that. So it could be outside groups that the DEI committee brings in to do that education, or it could be Senate. So both.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Further questions or corrections? Intern Booz?
On line 180, you also add the new duty of executing and analyzing a demographic survey of newly elected members. So did anyone have that duty before this committee?
Again, as far as I know, it was Speaker Pro Tempore Arnoldi, as well as, was it just you, or
Yeah, I can defer.
you can defer. I just defer to you.
Yeah, so that's my job as Speaker Pro Tempore right now. One of the reasons that it got pushed back so far this semester is because in the fall I was waiting for vacancies to be filled before we did the survey, which kind of didn't happen. And right now I'm working with Bill. It looks like the survey is probably going to be pulled through cases data, which we can do, and then moving forward, the transition will hopefully be something that we can make sure is routinely happening at a specific time, so we can be a little bit more consistent moving forward.
Permission for follow-up? Yeah. So, did you intend for this bill to mean that, the committee and the Speaker Pro Tem would be working together, or is the committee going to take that over entirely?
If you want to go, or yeah, no, we did not intend it that way, but we kind of hope for a collaboration, essentially. So, yeah, and
I'll also say that after this, there will be bills kind of cleaning up the bylaws and constitution as necessary to move around those duties, because we wanted to get them in place first with the committee, and then subsequent changes to different parts of our governing documents will come.
Right.
So
Makes
that
sense.
will probably, I foresee the special committee decide to remove that from the pro tem. Obviously, the pro tem position deals with Senate membership, but the committee should be able to work with Bill and get cases data and also implement the survey on their own.
All right. Thank you.
Kind of on that, I do have one question. I guess if this is changing the Speaker Pro Tempore's responsibility, then should the bill itself include that change as well? Because right now you're adding a responsibility to this committee that is already being done by somebody else.
I defer it to Intern Coleman. Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about this in committee, and essentially, the consensus that we came, or I don't know, consensus. What we talked about was that the different, and someone else can speak to this if they remember it better. We should create the committee, and if there's some overlap still, it's not that that's bad or against rules if it's in kind of two different places, and we can go and clean up in bills later with a better focus. If there is overlap that we think is redundant, but also if pro tem should continue to have a hand, or if caucus, other things like that should continue to stay as they are legislated, and if they need to be changed after the fact. That was a clunky answer, but we'll talk about it at the committee, so Sunday at 6.
All right, with that, are there any more questions? All right, seeing none, this bill will be referred to the Special Committee on Membership. Is there a motion to consider Bill 71? Caucus Leader Heatherman.
I move to consider Bill 71.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 71. Will the author please come forward? Intern Coordinator Bothwell.
I move that all authors for the rest of the night be allowed to summarize.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to allow all the authors and the rest of the bills 71 through 77 to summarize. If there are no objections, everyone can summarize.
So Bill 18-1971, fiscal year 2019 on-campus allocation. to the International Coordinating Council. So in summary here, the International Coordinating Council will be having an international week, the week of April 7th through 13th, and they will be having multiple events that spread out all through that week. And the 4 events that we allocated to are the International Fashion Show. They requested $240, and we recommended $240. International Game Day, $175, and we recommended $25. International Cultural Exhibitions, they requested $70. We recommend $70. International Talent Show, they requested $660. We recommend $580. So that's a total of their request $1,295, and our recommendation is $915.
Any questions for our author? All right, seeing none, this bill will be referred to the On-Campus Allocations Committee. Is there a motion to consider Bill 72? Senator Wilhelm.
I move Bill 72.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 72. Will the author please come forward?
Okay, so Bill 18-1972, FY19, on-campus allocation to the National Organization of Minority Architect Students by On-Campus Allocations Committee, whereas On-Campus Allocations Committee received the funding request for NOMAS. NOMAS will be hosting the Architectural Planning and Design's Diversity Week, April 5th through 12th. They will be having Roberta Washington, a previous NOMA national president, coming in from Washington, D.C., and we were funding their lecture speaker and entertainer fees for her. That totals to be $1,100, and we recommend the full amount.
With that, are there any questions or corrections for the author? Seeing none, this bill will be referred to the On-Campus Allocations Committee. Is there a motion to consider Bill 73? Chair Spellman.
I move to consider Bill 73.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 73. Will the author please come forward?
All right, cool. So this is the allocation to the Engineers Without Borders. So they will be traveling August 5th through the 12th, not the 2nd with the TH after it. In case anyone was wondering, so they'll be taking 10 members to Guatemala. They actually go to a village and get to do like some cool designing stuff. They get to build a well and other things to get to apply like engineering things to actual real world technology. So yeah, so the reason we didn't give them $1,000 is because they've already been previously allocated $300 for this year, so they're only eligible for $700. Yeah, so we gave them $700. Cool.
Questions for the author? Chair Spellman.
On line 23, is it highlighted for any reason, or is it just my computer?
No,
I don't
that's not you.
Yeah, I don't know why that's on there. All I know, I'm guessing it might be because of the date. That should
We'll get it changed. We'll get it changed. Further questions or corrections? Awesome. This bill will be referred to the Travel Allocations Committee. Is there a motion to consider 74, Bill 74? Senator Wilhelm.
I move Bill 74.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 74. Will the author please come forward?
All right, so this is the travel allocation of the KSU Tuba and Euphonium Association. So they will be sending 16 members to attend and perform the 2019 International Tuba and Euphonium Association Conference in Iowa City. So members will get to like see different musicians presenting as well as present on their own. They'll get to attend various workshops and then bring back and be able to perfect their craft. They requested $1,000 and we gave them $1,000.
Any questions on this bill? All right, seeing none, it will be referred to the Travel Allocations Committee. Is there a motion to consider Bill 75? Intern Glasscock.
Move to consider Bill 75. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 75. Will the author please come forward?
All right, so this is the travel allocation to the National Society of Black Engineers. They will be going to their national conference or convention in Detroit, Michigan. They will basically get to meet different professionals in their respective fields, go to workshops, develop basically their understanding of different technologies. They'll come back, share it with their clubs, and be able to better understand what their fields will be in the future. So they requested $2,000, and we gave them $700. The main thing there is they were only taking seven members, so they're only eligible for $700.
Any questions on Bill 75? All right, seeing none, I'll Intern Colburn.
So why does the bill say that?
actually just kidding. Okay, so they're taking 10 members. Sorry, this is the wrong bill. They're taking 10 members, and this one, they already have a GoFundMe set up for this one. So they raised about like $1,200-ish through a GoFundMe account. So we basically gave them $700 to make up the difference.
Any more questions? All right, seeing none, Bill 75 will be referred to the Travel Allocations Committee. Is there a motion to consider Bill 76? Intern Booz.
I move to consider Bill 76. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 76.
All right, so this is the travel allocation to the Pre-Dental Club. So they'll be sending about 30 of their members to Pittsburgh, Kansas to volunteer at it's basically the Kansas City Mission of Mercy. So basically they will be volunteering at like a free dental service. So they'll get to help and assist with like their future careers and get to help out different patients. So over like 28,000 patients have been served in this since the program began, and they expect to serve about 2,000 this year. So yeah, so they requested $1,000 and we recommended them $1,000.
Any questions on Bill 76? All right, seeing none, it will be referred to the Travel Allocations Committee. And lastly, is there a motion to consider Bill 77? Intern Glasscock.
Consider Bill 77.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 77. Carson?
Okay, so this is the travel allocation to the Student Finance Association. So they will be sending their members to New York City, where they will get a tour of various businesses and get to meet with different professionals across the finance world. So they'll be able to connect with some of our alumni as well as meet like new people that they can bring back to campus. They'll also be able to bring back the knowledge they gained and basically be able to perfect what they're already learning in their classes.
All right, with that, are there any questions on Bill 77? Seeing none, it will be referred to the Travel Allocations Committee. And we'll now move into second open period. Are there any speakers for second open period? Advisor Ferris.
Sure. Advisor first. So, just a reminder, I know we've already talked about the Super Bowl holiday that's happening this weekend, that knock on wood I won't be here for. I want to remind everyone that Safe Ride will be running. There will be 3 routes running starting at noon. So if you pull up that Safe Ride map, you'll know it's the green route, the yellow route, which is main campus, and the pink route, which goes north to the Gramercy. So that will start at noon at all those bus stops. There'll be 1 bus each for each of those routes. And that will run until 11 p.m. And then at 11 p.m., the normal Safe Ride routes will pick up again. So then there'll be a total of 5 buses on the 4 routes. So then the southeast route will pick up as well. They are free for students to use. Please use them. You pay for them as part of your privilege fee, so please make sure you utilize them. You do have to have your student ID with you, so make sure you use that. And because I know several of you may have guests coming from out of town who are not K-State students, you can get up to 4 guests with you also for free. So please use that service. It's important. Please be safe. Make smart decisions. Don't tell me about what happened when I come back on Monday. Okay? Thank you.
Questions? I do have one question. How do we find that map, like the route of Safe Ride?
Yeah, so it is on our website, kstate.edu/CSI under Safe Ride. We will also be pretty active tomorrow on social media, so we'll post it there as well. Make sure you check it out.
You can literally Google Safe Ride KSU and it'll pop up.
That too. Yeah.
Further speakers for second open period? Caucus Leader Heatherman.
Hi, I just wanted to say thanks to the College of Business Senators that came out and presented in JOMO 110 classes this week. We were at in 12 classes, and as part of that, we were able to administer like a really short survey with that. So just some like highlights from that, or maybe not highlights, they're kind of bad, but so specifically I compiled the data from 107 students. 96 of them didn't know that there was a faculty surcharge when they joined the college. That's 90% of them. 81 students didn't attend any part of KS Unite, which is 81% of them. 87 of them want to see the business building open past 12 a.m. with, I guess side note there, with like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, all sorts of options being possible. And 67 students wanted their 8 senators to spend the bulk of their time on affordability, which is 63%. Additionally, I think we've had the opportunity to do like these outreach things in classes, but have also started going to departmental student organizations. And I think it's very important as we consider this DE&I bill that we also think about like if we're going to be losing a part of college-specific outreach, and if you guys have like any interest in what that could look like in the form of legislation, please reach out.
Any questions for Caucus Leader Heatherman? I do have one. Could you maybe share, we passed the resolution for the business building to push back those hours a couple weeks back. Could you share the progress with that, or if that's been given to the dean of the college?
I will defer that to Alec because he said we were setting up a meeting.
Yeah, I still need to reach out to Dr. Glinner. I was supposed to do that the other day, but I forgot. But this public humiliation has reminded me.
Sorry.
All right, any more questions? All right, seeing none, further speakers for second open period, Chair Carpenter.
Okay, hey guys, so on Bill 18, 1973, that is my bad that it is highlighted blue, and also it says August 5th to August 2nd. I reached out to the Travel Allocations Committee to correct that, made the corrections, and did not hit save, so please don't give Carson a hard time. That was my bad. So sorry.
Questions for Chair Carpenter? All right, seeing none, further speakers? All right, if not, we will now move into second roll call.
Adams.
Here.
Armstrong.
Here.
Arnaldi.
Present.
Belk. Bergston.
Here.
Bothwell.
Here.
Bowen. Brown.
Here.
Burke. Carpenter.
Here.
Cole. DeMoranville.
Here.
Dunfield. Esses. Gammon. Gillian King.
Here.
Grover.
Here.
Hammond.
Here.
Harp. Heatherman.
Here.
Alec Hildreth.
Here.
Derek Hildreth.
Here.
Huffman.
Here.
Javin.
Here.
Harmali.
Here.
Kidd.
Here.
King.
Here.
Kulkarni. Leverett. Mari.
Here.
Marshall. Morgan.
Here.
Neatery.
Here.
Forth. Borzakowski. Pelton.
Here.
Penny.
Here.
Riffle.
Here.
Roman. Smith.
Here.
Spellman.
Here.
Spencer.
Here.
Sullivan. Tile. Thompson.
Here.
Chumlin.
Here.
Wessel.
Here.
Wilhelm.
Here.
And Whitmer.
Here.
All right, there are 38 senators present, 3 excused, and 8 absent.
All right, with that, I will now look for a motion to adjourn. Intern Glasscock.
Move to adjourn, same time, same place next week.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. If there are no objections, we are adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.
Someone